you guys? It's Susie from HeyGrillHey.com, and today we are cooking up a smoked duck. That is right, perfect for your holiday table or at the end of hunting season. This is one you're gonna come back to over and over again. Let's do it. This might be the easiest and most delicious recipe for smoked duck that you could ever have. It has 5 ingredients. We're keeping it simple, we're letting the duck shine, and we're kissing it with that wood smoke. It's gonna be awesome, but it is a 2-day process. So set yourself aside a little bit of time so that this duck can be absolutely awesome. What we're essentially doing is a dry brine for our duck. That means we're gonna have really moist, juicy, and well-seasoned breast meat, and we're gonna have nice crunchy skin on the outside with a maple orange glaze. With this one, it really is all about technique. So we're gonna start with our dry brining process. I have about a 5-pound duck here. The neck has been removed, the giblets have been removed. Anything else from the inside, get rid of it. Grab yourself a skewer or a small paring knife, or even possibly the probe of your thermometer would work. And we're gonna pierce the skin of our duck all over. This will help the fat underneath the skin render while it's cooking, but it's also gonna help our salt get into the meat itself. Now when I say all over, I mean all over the breast, the legs, the thighs. You're probably gonna make a couple hundred tiny little holes all across the surface of this skin. So I love a dry brine turkey, and I think brining is an awesome step for most poultry, but duck has a very thick fat layer immediately underneath the skin, and that actually prevents most traditional brining practices from working with duck. So we had to get creative. Okay, I feel good about it. So next we're gonna season the duck on all sides and even inside the cavity with coarse kosher salt. Ooh, I'm probably gonna use about 1/3 cup of salt for the entire 5-pound duck. Now this seems like a lot of salt, but rest assured you're not gonna be eating all of the salt. What's gonna happen is this salt is gonna draw moisture out of the skin, and then ideally, the way that this works is that it's kind of reabsorbed through the holes, and it seasons the duck meat from the inside out. Also, tomorrow, when this dry brining process is over, we're gonna wipe off any of the excess salt. So it's not gonna be something that you are actively consuming, but it is gonna give us a much better, crispier, dried out skin and really moist, well-seasoned meat. That looks good. This is going to go into the refrigerator uncovered, and I do recommend putting this in some kind of a pan that will catch any of the moisture that's pulled out from the salt. This needs to go, I recommend about 3 hours per pound for a dry brine, so at least 15 hours. This one I'm probably gonna leave in there closer to 20 by the time I'm able to cook it tomorrow. I think you can leave it up to 24 hours and be totally fine. We are about 18 hours of our duck in our salted dry brine. It's time for the next steps, and I want you to come in and take a peek at what this duck looks like now. A lot of the salt on the surface, remember we put on quite a bit of salt, has actually liquefied. That means it pulled moisture from the duck breast just like we wanted it to do, liquefied the salt, and then it's been kind of absorbed back into the meat itself. We're gonna have really juicy, well-seasoned meat, and this should help a lot with us getting that skin texture that we really want. So we're gonna pull our duck friend out of the pan, and as you can see, I'm glad that we used, this rimmed pan, because there is quite a bit of liquid in the bottom. That's not something that you'd want to spill on your fridge, so that was a good call there. We're gonna put it on a paper towel so we can dry the backside, and then we're gonna pat the surface of the duck down with the rest of our paper towels until it is totally dry and any of that excess salt has been removed. I've removed all the salt from the outside of our skin. Now we're gonna prep the bird for the smoker. I'm gonna tuck the wing tips. Number 1, so they don't burn on the smoker, but number 2, so they don't cover up any of that breast from having access to the smoke. We want that nice uniform color across the top of our duck. So you can see how it lays nice and flat and we have our whole breast exposed. Next, I have one orange that I've cut in half, and I'm just gonna stuff the cavity of our duck with these oranges. That'll give us a nice aromatic flavor while our duck cooks. Now we've got to smoke this bird. I've got my smoker preheated to 275 degrees. It should take about 2.5 hours, and my favorite and recommended wood for this recipe is maple wood, but honestly, most woods will work here. I tend to lean towards the fruit or the nut woods. I think they provide a really great flavor that goes well with the duck. We may have some more meat on the smoker also. That's a different recipe. Okay, our duck at 275 degrees, I think is gonna take, based on times I've cooked it in the past, between 2 and 2.5 hours. We're looking for a temperature of 160 degrees Fahrenheit in the breast, which is generally higher than you would take a duck breast if you were cooking it on its own. But where we're cooking the whole bird, skin on it, it'll still be really juicy, really moist, really delicious. And then we can make sure that those legs and thighs are where we want them also. Friends, we are exactly 2 hours into our whole smoked duck recipe, and we are right about there. The temperature in the thickest part of the breast is at 160 degrees, which means we're ready for our next step. But I want you to see what it looks like right now, because it's not gonna blow your mind. For real, look at that, on the money. It's kind of anemic looking, not that golden burnished brown that we're used to with smoked food.
Burnished?
Yeah, but that's kind of what you get with poultry, number one, but also duck. There's so much fat under the skin, it really doesn't render out and crisp at 275 on the smoker, which is why we need this next step. We're gonna baste the outside of our duck with equal parts orange juice and maple syrup. Now this is just a 1/4 cup of each, so I have a 1/2 cup of liquid. I'm gonna baste all over the outside, and then we're heading inside to the oven, and I'm actually gonna broil the skin of our duck for just a couple of minutes until we get some really nice golden brown, darker color flecks on top. This is a very pretty duck. I am not sad about how this turned out. Just those couple minutes under the broiler really takes that skin to that beautiful, dark, bubbly color that you want. And you have all of that smoke flavor from it being on the smoker. It's the best of both worlds. Now we just get to, you know, to eat it. It's my favorite part. Oh no, oops. A piece fell off while I was slicing it. Oh, juicy. Perfect level of salt. So I actually recommend just taking off the whole breast and then cutting individual slices here. The beautiful thing about doing it this way is that every piece, look at that, gets a little bit of that beautiful skin. Oh, this is gorgeous. I'm just gonna give us another little drizzle of this orange maple glaze. Repeat with the other breast. You can also take off the leg and the thigh, detach it from the carcass, but kind of leave it in the same spot. And then if you want a really pretty presentation, once you get the legs off, you can just leave them in the same spot and then pop that sliced breast back on top, just like this. And just serve. A really pretty presentation. I quartered some oranges. Just laid down some fresh herbs. That is beautiful. Whether you're eating this for a holiday meal or a special occasion, or you just happen to go hunting and get yourself a duck. This is an awesome whole smoked duck recipe. I think you guys are gonna dig it. If you give this a try, take a photo of this beautiful photogenic bird, post it on social media, and use the hashtag HeyGirlHey. That way I can see it and cheer you on your journey to becoming a backyard barbecue hero. That's enough talk. Now I get to eat. Oh.